Hello and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Showman. We're at the Jodhpur Air Force Base. It is a red letter day for the Indian Air Force with the light combat helicopter, the helicopter that you see behind me, being inducted into the IAF. This is very much the future as far as attack helicopters are concerned in the Indian Air Force. Throughout this program, we're going to be talking about the actual induction of the helicopters, the capabilities of the helicopters. We'll be speaking to the squadron commander. We'll be speaking to young war fighters of the Indian Air Force, the men who actually fly this machine, and we're going to be talking a great deal about Atmanirbharta, because in as much as some may believe it is a rhetoric, it is a reality when it comes to several areas of Indian defence, not least of all the manufacture, the design of this helicopter.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्ति रूपेण संस्थिता अल्लाह तमाम दुआओं को अपने रहमों कर अपने हबीब के सदक़े में कबूल फरमा। वाहिगुरु जी का
A multi-faith ceremony to induct India's light combat helicopter, which has now been named Prachand, which means fierce.
Weapons hot, fire. Target destroyed, returning home.
The Prachand now enters service with 143 helicopter unit in Jodhpur and is being simultaneously inducted into the army. Of the 15 initial choppers ordered, 10 are being inducted into the IAF, 5 go to the army. The total cost 3,887 crores. Both services are expected to induct upwards of 50 Prachand helicopters each.
प्रचंड शक्ति, प्रचंड वेग और प्रचंड प्रहार की क्षमता वाले इस एलसीएल का इंडक्शन हमारी एयरफोर्स की कैपेबिलिटीज में बढ़ोतरी के साथ साथ रक्षा उत्पादन क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर भी यह एक बड़ा कदम है।
Later, the minister flew on the Prachand. He's flown on the Indian Air Force's Sukhoi 30s earlier. For the Jodhpur-based squadron, inducting the chopper today is a huge day, a chance to fly a world-class hunter-killer chopper. And we've spoken about high altitudes, but this is equally adept at flying less than treetop height as well, right? In the desert where there are no trees.
As I told you, this aircraft is highly maneuverable. It responds to the pilot inputs instantaneously, and because of that we can fly it as low as possible in bad weather conditions, in day and night, and all kinds of terrain. It's beautiful in terms of maneuverability.
The Prachand weighs 5.8 tons. It can fly at altitudes in excess of 16,000 feet in Ladakh. It's armed with missiles, rockets and a cannon. Developed after the Kargil War, when the existing choppers at the time were unable to carry out their high altitude missions, the Prachand has a key role to play in Ladakh against Chinese threats. The engine, of course, it's co-developed. It's called the Shakti. Variants of this engine actually do service on the advanced light helicopter as well. Tell us about the engine. How does it work well with this airframe?
As far as the design of the engine is concerned, it is a very powerful engine wherein it has been designed to match the characteristics of the transmission system, and it gives us the option to fly the machine at the highest peaks of the Himalayas. So that is what it has been made in the country itself to operate in the Himalaya regions and operate at the highest peaks. So as far as the buzz in the squadron is concerned, it is like we are working day and night, and still we are fresh and we are excited, and we have that enthusiasm always there. So we are working towards operationalizing the platform at the earliest. For that we have got pilots from different streams, so we have a varied experience in our kitty that we are utilizing well. So that is the kind of buzz is going on.
And it is definitely a proud privilege for all of us to be a part of this elite group of the LCH Trailblazers, and we are all honored to have been chosen to shoulder this responsibility, and definitely it will be our sincere endeavor to perform to the best of our ability to operationalize this state-of-the-art machine, the fleet, to its full capacity and capability at the earliest.
So we have the Tejas for the fighter aircraft, Prachand for the light combat helicopter that you can see behind me now. A handful of these are being inducted into the Indian Air Force. In the first allotment, the government had sanctioned 15 helicopters, 10 for the Air Force, 5 for the Indian Army. These are progressively entering both services. Ultimately, we expect the Army to operate as many as 95, perhaps approximately 65 for the Indian Air Force. Vishnu Shom for NDTV. Well, joining us now, Group Captain Deepak Vishnoy. He's the commanding officer of this helicopter unit. Thanks so very much for being with us. It's a matter of immense pride for you. How does the LCH fly, sir? What is it like to fly this Indian indigenous helicopter?
First of all, I'm proud to be the pilot, the first pilot flying this helicopter, purely indigenously developed. Yeah. And when we talk about the flying characteristics, characteristics of this aircraft, because of the rigid rotors, the composites, the agility of this helicopter is very nice. Because of which, and the human-machine interface in this helicopter has been made so nice that for a pilot, it's a dream aircraft to fly.
And so it's extremely agile, and I think that's one of the key design features, right?
Yeah.
And the need for this helicopter was spelled out after the Kargil war because we needed something to be able to fly in the mountains. How is that a key design feature?
That's we realized in 1999 that we did not have any capability that time in terms of attack helicopters to fly at the altitudes of Siachen. And once we looked elsewhere, we could not find a machine which could do the required job at that altitude. Right. So that's how the story of development started. And Indian Air Force and HAL came together. We researched, and over a period of last 15 years, we made a lot of amendments, a lot of trials at high altitudes, high temperatures, and we developed certain key technologies like how to use composites, the rigid rotors, the transmission system, the airframe of the helicopter to make it as light as possible, yet retaining its agility, the maneuverability, and also the flying characteristics which make the mission simple for a pilot to fly.
The man-mission interface, in other words, the glass cockpit with the multifunction displays, and mated to a helmet-mounted sight. That's all been done to an Indian specification, and I think that's interesting and important because this is not something you've imported from outside in terms of the design. It's exactly what we in India want for our pilots. That's also key, right? It's a key part of Atmanirbharta to design something the way we want it.
See, as you said about Atmanirbharta, I feel that the requirement itself was Atmanirbhar. Nobody else has had this requirement, this stringent operational requirements. So the genesis and subsequently as you said, the build-up of critical technologies, which is unique, which we have developed in terms of operating this helicopter at such high altitude with such good systems, modern systems, the night vision goggles, the helmet-mounted displays, and the structures. In all respects, I would say it's a key milestone for India to have developed such a beautiful machine, and we are proud of it.
These sensors are fully integrated, and integration has been a key part of the development. How has that really worked out, integration? Because this involves integration of various systems and various sensors, not just their design, but actual integration. So tell us a little bit about the process of integration which we've seen.
See, when we talk about the integration of any particular system onto a helicopter or an area platform, it simply just can't fit it, and you can't just start trying. There are a lot of other complexities of other systems which come into play. So there are lots of iterations which are carried out. There are a lot of technical aspects which need to be studied prior to putting it. Subsequently, in an incremental manner, we test it at various environmental conditions, various terrains, and we are unique in India that we have all kinds of terrain starting from sea level, the deserts, the mighty Himalayas. Yeah, and each system has its own limitations.
But before I carry on, I must ask you, as commanding officer of this unit, just tell us a little bit about the buzz in your unit, about getting the opportunity of inducting this for the first time in the IAS.
As a commanding officer, I would say I'm proud to be the first commanding officer to be commanding a unit which is the platform which is developed in India as per Indian requirements, and I'm looking forward to have this platform operationalized as early as possible.
And your squadron is obviously a family for you, right? It works like that team spirit. How has this really come together as a team for this big day of the actual induction?
If you see, we started a process 3 months back, and if I compare with my previous experience, what we have achieved as a team in last 3 months, probably in normal case would have been achieved over a period of 1 year. So my team has actually come together, and we have been helped at all levels in Air Force from HAL, and to make it possible that in 3 months we have inducted the aircraft, we are flying, we are trained, and we are capable of maintaining it. So I feel very proud of my team, and I think for any commanding officer, if your team is there with you with full heart, full support, I think you can't ask for a better thing.
Just one or two questions. You spoke about composites. Carbon composite technology is an area of excellence in India. How does the use of composites actually help make this more reliable, make it lighter and stronger also, right?
First of all, composites, if you see the very concept of composite is such that as compared to a metal or any other material, it doesn't give away so easily. It is easily repairable. It is light in the weight. It's actually for a aircraft or a helicopter which operates at high altitude. It's a very, very significant requirement.
Right.
And also in terms of its applicability, like in rigid rotors and all, you can't make it if you don't have this kind of technology.
And we've spoken about high altitudes, but this is equally adept at flying less than treetop height as well, right? In the desert where there are no trees.
As I told you, this aircraft is highly maneuverable. It responds to the pilot inputs instantaneously, and because of that, we can fly it as low as possible in bad weather conditions, in day and night, and all kinds of terrain. It's beautiful in terms of maneuverability.
Well, congratulations, sir. It's a red letter day for your squadron and for you personally. And I'm sure this helicopter will do wonderfully well. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir.
Well, there you have it, the commanding officer of this helicopter unit telling us a little bit about the LCH, what its capabilities actually are, and a little bit about the road ahead, because in as much as this is a platform which has been developed over a period of time, it's going to be progressively updated and upgraded. So the capabilities of this light combat helicopter, say 4 or 5 years down the road, would be substantially more than what we see today. But it's a huge start which has been made, and a start which is going to get perhaps affirmed even more as these helicopters enter in large numbers. Well, joining us now, some of the young war fighters of the Indian Air Force, combat pilots who would actually take the light combat helicopter to war if required. Thanks very much, all of you, for being with us. Tell us a little bit about Atmanirbharta, how it's not just rhetoric. In the case of this helicopter, it's actually something that's worked out.
LCH is a shining example of self-dependence in the defense sector. So with the induction of this lethal platform in our Air Force, today as a nation we stand in the select group of 7 countries who have shown their capability in developing, designing and manufacturing attack helicopters. So this lethal machine is a potent platform and has proved all the performance characteristics of an attack helicopter of our times. Yeah. Moreover, the technologies like the modern mathematical models like computational fluid dynamics have been developed in-house and perfected by our own OEM, that is HAL, who has manufactured this helicopter. They have used composites in building most of the parts like airframe, transmission and armor protection. Right. Also the rotor blades have been developed in-house. Mm-hmm. So yes, it is a huge leap in the critical defense development for our nation.
It's got rigid rotors, right? What do rigid rotors do?
Basically, rigid rotors make your control responses much faster. So as the pilot is giving an input, the responses come very quickly. Basically in layman terms, you can say the lag is very less, or basically there is no lag.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about some of the systems that you have over here. You've got various pylons. This is for air-to-air missiles, and that's for rockets. So again, for an audience which doesn't really know, what are these rockets meant for?
These rockets are generally meant for an area target, like a column of vehicle or even a lightly armored column of vehicle. These are they have a caliber of 70 mm. They have a warhead which is of different types. A different kind of warhead can be chosen depending upon the target. That's called as target to weapon matching. So based upon that, we can configure the kind of armament we want to deliver with the help of our IADA system which we have in this aircraft. Coming on to this pylon, this is the pylon for launching the air-to-air missiles.
Right.
So 2 of those missiles can be carried onto one pod, and this pod can be replicated onto the other side. So 4 in total.
The engine, of course, it's co-developed. It's called the Shakti. Variants of this engine actually do service on the advanced light helicopter as well. Tell us about the engine. How does it work well with this airframe?
As far as the design of the engine is concerned, it is a very powerful engine wherein it has been designed to match the characteristics of the transmission system. and it gives us the option to fly the machine at the highest peaks of the Himalayas. So that is what it has been made in the country itself to operate in the Himalaya regions and operate at the highest peaks.
Yeah. Part of the helicopter is armor plated as well, right? Could you tell us what armor plating is meant to do? Because it's a trade-off. You were all explaining to me between weight of armor and agility and lightweight of the overall platform. So tell us a little bit about how that works.
When engaging an enemy, you cannot rule out to be shot at yourself. So basically, when an enemy is engaging you with his small arms, you need some kind of protection for your important system of the aircraft. You have got transmission system, which is the rotor system and below part. There are engines, there are hydraulic system. So all these systems are critical for the health of the aircraft, and they need some kind of protection. So the trading off which you were mentioning, it is in respect of the adding the armor plates which add to the weight of the aircraft, but at the same time it is giving you the critical protection which you need while engaging the enemy.
Right. And you were telling me about the gun a little while earlier on, and the electro-optical system, and it's all slave to the helmet of the pilot. So again, could you explain that to me? How does that work?
Yeah, basically, so this is our electro-optical system.
Right.
It has a TV sensor, a FLIR, that is a forward-looking infrared, and a laser rangefinder and target designator as well.
Right.
And basically, we have the option to slew the gun. This is the 20 mm gun with the 400 rounds. So we have the capability to slew the gun and the EO pod to our helmet-mounted display.
Right.
So in a simple language, wherever I am looking, my EO pod and the gun will be pointing in the same direction. So it makes targeting easier for us.
So you can actually be flying in one direction but targeting something in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, that is
engaging it as well.
Yes, that is what I mean. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the buzz in the squadron. The fact that you've got this new platform, your friends, your family. What does it feel like in the run-up to this event?
So as far as the buzz in the squadron is concerned, it is like we are working day and night, and still we are fresh and we are excited, and we have that enthusiasm always there. So we are working towards operationalizing the platform at the earliest. For that we have got pilots from different streams, so we have a varied experience in our kitty that we are utilizing well. So that is the kind of buzz is going on.
And it is definitely a proud privilege for all of us to be a part of this elite group of the LCH Trailblazers, and we are all honored to have been chosen to shoulder this responsibility, and definitely it will be our sincere endeavor to perform to the best of our ability to operationalize this state-of-the-art machine, the fleet, to its full capacity and capability at the earliest.
Just one or two other questions. It's a tandem cockpit. So the pilot is in front and the gunner in the back, but the cockpits are replicated, right? Yes. So both pilots are skilled to do both tasks, right?
Yes. Primarily it is designed to be flown from the front cockpit. The operator who sits in the front cockpit is termed as the pilot, and the one who sits in the rear cockpit is termed as the weapon system operator. So, but as the eventuality may arise wherein the rear pilot may need to fly, and the front pilot may need to engage the targets. Hence, with that point of view, the controls have been replicated, and not only the flying controls but also the controls to engage the armament.
Right.
So both the pilots are fully capable, and they are trained. Our syllabus is also constructed in such a way that we fly from both the cockpits to have adequate experience and expertise in doing both the things.
Yeah. A final question to you, and to you if you like, what does it feel like to fly this?
Well, flying this aircraft, it feels amazing. It is a lean, mean machine, and the experience of flying this aircraft, the feeling, it is absolutely unmatched. I've flown a few aircraft before this one, but none like this one.
But it's like a Formula 1 racer compared to those helicopters.
Trust me, it's nothing like that. It's way better.
All right. How about you? The feel as a pilot.
Piloting this kind of aircraft is
it
a
easy,
dream.
difficult?
It's both at the same time.
Right.
If you ask me, it is easy for me, but for a new incumbent it will be slightly difficult, but it can always be mastered.
Right.
Piloting this kind of aircraft is a dream come true for any combat aviator. This aircraft has got the state-of-the-art nav system and attack system, which not only makes flying this aircraft as a privilege and a good kind of experience, but at the same time delivering the armament becomes an exhilarating experience.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for being with us. Well, there you have it. Some squadron pilots, the rail war fighters of the IAF, talking about the light combat helicopter. Well, joining us now, the flight commander of this helicopter unit, Wing Commander Saurabh Sharma. Thanks very much, Wing Commander, for being with us. You among the first pilots to actually fly this in your squadron, or were you the first?
I was the second
Right.
after my commanding officer.
Right. What does it feel like? What did it feel like?
It's a pleasure to fly this machine. In the words of famous boxer Muhammad Ali, flies
Yeah.
like a butterfly, stings like a bee.
Yeah. And you used to fly Me-35s before. You used to fly other helicopters as well. Tell us about this experience. Come.
Okay, this machine, as you must have figured it out from the name, light combat helicopter. It's about 5.8 tons of war fighting machine,
Right.
and you must be aware that every rotor system and an engine system has a capability to lift some weight.
Yeah.
Now, if we have reduced the weight of this aircraft, this means I can carry more weapons.
Right. Right.
So that translates to more firepower up on the altitudes of the 20,000 feet plus, where
right.
is my battle zone in
Right.
the northern parts.
Yeah.
Also, the lighter helicopter means that it will go faster
Right.
for the battlefields of Thar, as
Yeah.
well as the lighter helicopter means that it will turn tighter
Right.
for the tight valleys of northeast.
Right.
So all the terrains, all the expected battlefields in my AOR, we'll be able to perform and deliver.
And the fact that you've got a very powerful engine, the Shakti engine, tell us a little bit about that, how that works well for this airframe.
There's a very healthy mating between the engine and the airframe. The engine is electronically governed, so that means I can have carefree handling of the aircraft,
Yeah.
and I will not be bothered about my control inputs because the engine is automatically governed,
Yeah.
and all the control inputs will translate onto
Yeah. Yeah. Into the thing.
Into maneuvers.
Into maneuvers. And it can actually carry a whole host of weaponry as well. So we've got air-to-air missiles, you've got rockets, but in the future you'll get guided missiles for surface targets as well.
Yes, we will get air to surface missiles also. The
And- yeah.
the trial phase is almost over, and very shortly they'll be integrated onto this platform and giving it the teeth which are required to take out any enemy anywhere.
What did it feel like when you first found out that you're going to actually be associated with the actual induction?
It's a matter of pride for me, and also a responsibility on our shoulders, the first lot of us, the trailblazers, to set the ball rolling in the right direction. It's indeed a matter of pride, and it's indeed a very surreal moment for us. It was a very surreal moment when we came to know that we are going to be the first ones to fly this machine and operationalize this machine.
And what about the actual training, because it's a new type? How did you actually train for a new machine?
The OEM of this aircraft, Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, they were the ones who trained us on these machines. Plus, we all had been selected because of our previous backgrounds in attack helicopters, tandem seatings, and the light helicopter background pilots who already had some experience in flying similar machines. That came in handy. The Air Force training policies which were in vogue for training pilots like us, that also came in handy for us to be selected and then to be trained onto this machine.
Yeah. And this is going to be progressively upgraded. It's been actually built with data buses and architecture to sustain constant upgrades.
Yes.
So the machine 10 years later will be very differently capable from what it is now, perhaps much more capable.
Certainly, that will be. The beauty of indigenization is that you have the source code with you, and you will be able to integrate any weapon, any competitive weapon of that time or this time available with you onto this machine, and have it with the latest set of weapons ready to go into any battlefield.
Right. And have you flown this at high altitudes yourself?
No, not yet.
Not yet. But I think in as much as we speak about high altitudes, it's equally capable at very low altitudes, just treetop heights. So it's versatile in its in the roles. Could you tell us a little bit about how it's very versatile in the roles that it has?
Okay. This machine, it caters to the specific requirements that we, Indian Air Force, had for an attack helicopter. The critical gap that we had in that light helicopter class, it has been bridged by this machine. Maneuverability wise, weight carriage capability at all the altitudes, speed wise, the sensors, the data linking, everything available, whichever is on your wish list, is available in this aircraft.
All right. Well, congratulations and thank you so much. Well, there you have it from one of the pilots over here. He's somebody who is a key part of this helicopter unit. and they'll be part of the team that actually ensures that the lessons they learned are learned by successive teams or squadrons of the Indian Air Force in operating this weapon system.